for Lethal Weapon, I said, okay, how about a police procedural, but with the concept in my mind that it has to have these set pieces at a level where it's not just something that every scene you've seen before. It's just, procedural, asking questions and arresting people. No, this has to be a combination of a thriller and a solid piece of police work.
When you're in your early 20s, I guess you write Lethal Weapon. How does that come about? What inspires that?
I always love mysteries. I always love cop stories. And for years, I've been steeped in police procedurals, particularly those of a writer named Evan Hunter, who went by the name Ed McBain when he wrote cop stories. And I read the 87th Precinct novels of Ed McBain. I read Ross McDonald, Raymond Chandler. Those were my heroes. That's who I cut my teeth on. So at the same time, you've got the cinematic sort of over-the-top version of Dirty Harry and Magnum Force, which immediately, I watched Dirty Harry. It was like a revelation. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. And it introduced me to the concept of the set piece. Bits within the movie that are memorable by themselves as, the something scene from Dirty Harry, where he's being bounced from phone to phone at one point on a ransom. The scene where he walks down the street chewing a hot dog with his 44 Magnum in one hand, or 357, whichever it was. And the guy, he says to the guy, I forgot how many bullets are in this gun, basically. I can't remember. Did I fire 4 shots or did I fire 5? And he basically challenges the guys to reach for a gun. He says, well, do you, punk? And the guy backs. It's a great fucking scene. It's just everything you want. Similarly, the school bus scene at the end, where he actually intercepts a school bus with a psychopath and a busload of children. Every scene in that movie is a set piece. It's something you remember. It's something you could carve out. And people did. There were prints of Dirty Harry where they were incomplete because people would remove that part. They would take the scene, when there's not much good material. And so for Lethal Weapon, I said, okay, how about a police procedural, but with the concept in my mind that it has to have these set pieces. It has to be at a level where it's not just something that every scene you've seen before. It's just, procedural, asking questions and arresting people. No, this has to be a combination of a thriller, an adventure thriller, and a solid piece of police work. And that was the idea. Also, it's a Western, urban Western. Read a lot of those too. So the old gunslinger who's neglected, that was in Lethal Weapon. The guy who everyone brands as being too violent for now today's gentrified age. He's a dinosaur, a relic, a baby killer from Vietnam. Everyone ignores him. He sits and watches TV in his trailer, and people just say, "Don't go near the crazy guy." Mm-hmm. He thinks the war is still on or something. He thinks that he's still acting like there's evil in the world, but we all know in our safe suburban bubble that we're actually coddled and protected, and nothing bad is going to happen. And then something does, and they have to go to the Frankenstein. They say, "Hey, excuse me, we hated you and called you baby killer and thought you were weird, but now we realize you were right. Evil never sleeps, and we need you." And they take Frankenstein out of his cage and set him loose. And he's the old gunslinger resurrected in the gentrified West that doesn't realize they still need the old gunslinger. So everything was a perfect storm for that. All the Westerns I'd read, all the police stories I'd read. It was great, fun.
Now, while you were writing that, were you aware of all these things happening, or did that realization come later?
No, the blessing of writing, and I think you know this, and you've probably said to your students, is most of the time you don't know what you're doing until afterwards. You went, oh my God, there's a scene there where, guy walks in with a gun, and the moment someone raises their voice, there's an explosion. And that mimics the fact that when I was a kid in a house, if you raised your voice, something bad would happen. The world would end if you did this or this. All those psychological things start surfacing in scenes in ways that you never even imagined. Yeah. You're just writing an adventure scene, but you're looking back, you could see these psychological elements struggling to emerge, and pop and boil from the mix.